I'm your host, Erin Groves, and this is where your positivity journey starts. Welcome to the Pop Podcast. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Pop Podcast. It is me, your host, Erin, this week, me and only me. And I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend. I know that was last weekend, and obviously Angie was the guest last week, but I hope everyone enjoyed time with their loved ones and took that extra day off of work if you had it to relax. And I am so happy to be back. And before I get into the episode, I kind of just wanted to recap my week. I feel like Memorial Day weekend kind of just threw me off. It was nice because I felt like the work week went by really fast, but I was definitely off the working out and exercise train, and I was just out with my friends. Some of them were moving away from Dallas, so celebrating some goodbyes and have lots of birthdays this month. So I feel like it's just been really busy, and that actually kind of goes right into the episode for today. And I wanted to come up with something that was recurring every month that you as listeners could count on when it's just me talking on the episode. And I'm very much of like a visionary in a sense that I come up with a lot of ideas, but getting to like the how or the detail behind it sometimes is challenging. It's definitely the like Enneagram 8 in me, and also just being very scatterbrained that I'm like, oh, I love this idea, but really making it happen is where I get stuck sometimes. Lost my words there. And so I was talking with one of my friends, and I'm like, I really want to do something that's health and fitness related and that it's recurring every single month. And so I came up with the idea because obviously health and fitness and overall wellness is something I'm so passionate about, and it's completely and totally changed my life, as you guys will hear me say over and over again. And so I thought, why not the first Monday of every month have a similar episode, and I'm going to call them the Monthly Motivators. Obviously, the title of this podcast is named that as well. And so today, I'm just going to give you guys 4 tips. I'm going to keep them between 3 and 5 and make this a very short episode of health and wellness, or just overall tips that either I'm using or things that I've tried and I've loved, or something that maybe I want to do, as I firmly believe that a new month really brings in new energy. And if last month, maybe you didn't have a good month in your relationships or work, I always write in my journal and put intentions for each month. That kind of goes back to that overarching theme of gratitude that I had for 2021. And so this week I have 4 main tips for you. And some of them I've talked about before, but it's something I've been slacking on. And so the very first one, which is actually something that I never have prioritized, is rest in recovery from working out. And it seems like such a no-brainer, but I think for me, it's never been something that I've ever practiced, truly. Like, I take rest days, but there's some weeks that I don't. I feel like I've just always been such a doer and a go. Like, it's just not really in I prioritize sleep, but when it comes to like recovery and working out and just overall rest, that's something I am not the best at. I am so used to always going. And so that's one thing that I noticed. I was just exhausted, or my workouts weren't feeling like I was giving 100%. And so I have challenged myself to take at least 1, but possibly 2 rest days per week. So only working out 5 days, maybe 6 times, which again is always a challenge because I'm used to working out all the time. But I just think the season of my life I'm in, I'm super busy with work. I'm still teaching. I have this podcast. I think my brain and my energy is going towards other things. And I just want to make sure that, I'm resting like I should and recovering and like really allowing my muscles to recover. And I'm sharing this with all of you, obviously, because A, hold me accountable, and B, I think it's something that is overlooked. And it's something that people tell me all the time. Like, if I get frustrated with my pace, with running, which goes into my second thing. But just to say on that first thing, just really focusing on rest. And so I challenge all of you, if it's something that, you're in a season of life where you're super busy at work, or maybe you're hitting the gym really hard, just taking those times to rest and decompress. And I think it's in those moments of stillness and pause that there's the biggest transformation and the biggest results. And so I'll take that into my second tip, or my second piece of advice for the month of June, which is I am trying, or I guess it's not really a tip, but I am trying to get back into running. I took probably like a little over a year off of running. I was just dealing with health issues, and it was more of a pain to run. Like I just did not feel good. I felt exhausted. It just wasn't serving me. And so that is something that I am trying to get back into. And so I think my ask here for you guys is maybe there's something that you've been wanting to try when it comes to fitness, or maybe it's, you're like me and you've always done high intensity workouts and now you're adding in yoga or you're adding in Pilates. I always like to challenge people to take a step outside the box, and it is summertime. So maybe you're trying to add in something a little bit different or get results that you haven't seen before. And I am all for adding in something or taking something out. So that is my second thing. And then my third thing is water intake. And I know I've talked about this before and I preach about this all the time. I am focusing on hydration and getting electrolytes and stuff different. I've noticed that, especially with doing hot yoga 4 to 5 times a week, water just wasn't cutting it. And so it's like, I need to add in Gatorade or Ultima. I know a bunch of people love liquid IV. So just adding in other things. And water is one of those things that it's a necessity. I always encourage people, I'm like, drink more water, especially with the heat. No one wants to be dehydrated. I feel fatigued when I'm not drinking enough water. So this is kind of ties back into number one. It's just really holding me accountable. I'm always a good water drinker, but there's some times where I'm slack, especially on the weekends. I don't know why, but for some reason on the weekends, only have like 3 of my water bottles instead of like the 4 or 5 that I usually have. So that is my third tip, especially going into summer. And then my fourth and final tip, which is more of a mindfulness thing, is just really focusing on being present. And I've mentioned in the first one and with running, it's just, going, or with rest and just being very busy, that I think sometimes I lose that being grateful in this present moment. I'm always kind of looking for the next thing, or what can I do, to further myself in my career, or can I, I'm always thinking about the podcast or coming up with a yoga sequence. And so along with rest, I really just am challenging myself to be present and to really be grateful for everything that I have right now. And it's actually something my mom always reminds me of whenever I'm frustrated. She's like, Erin, you're doing fine for your age. Like, you're always looking 5 steps ahead. And it's so true. It's just really focusing on where you are right now and being grateful for how far you've come. And one of my quotes that always reminds me of this is, at one point in your life, you were praying for where you are today. And it's so true. I remember, praying for a job like the one I have, or, praying to have the friends that I do and all this stuff. And now that I have it, our mind automatically goes to like, okay, what can we do next? Or how can I, take this one step further? Or how can I make this much more money? And so for me, I think it's really challenging myself to be present. And that's why I'm focusing on rest and recovery, just to tie into that. And so those are my 4 tips for the month of June. And if you guys have any feedback or recommendations or things you want to hear on the podcast, please, please, please reach out to me. That is the most important thing. I want to make sure that I'm putting out content there that you guys are interested in and want to hear from me. And other than that, I hope everyone has a fabulous week. I cannot believe I can't believe it's June already. I swear it was just New Year's Eve or I was in quarantine. So I hope everyone is enjoying the summer weather wherever you are. And I will be back next week with a very special guest. So tune in. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe. Have a good Monday and have a good week, everyone. Thanks. And I'd said bye, and then I'm like, wait, I didn't even tell everyone what I was grateful for. So this week, I am grateful for my family and friends and the health of everyone in my life. I know that's one thing I take for granted often is just being healthy. My family is healthy for the most part. And so this week, that is what I'm thankful for. All right. Now I'm tuning off. Bye.